Isn't this exciting that President Scumbag is being taken to task in a seemingly legitimate way? No, I'm gonna pull seemingly right out of that sentence and say legit. This is some legit sort of unconstitutional, fucked up behavior for a president. Yeah, not that that's a surprise, but it looks like it's got teeth, and it's very exciting.
That was the voice of comedian, actor, and former host of Air America, Marc Maron. We'll be taking Marc to school in just a moment, but first a special thanks to this video's sponsor, the world-famous Patriot Flashlight. Right now, if you use coupon code SGT20, you can save 20% on the 2019 Patriot Flashlight, which they're blowing out. The features on this bad boy include a compass, rope, and wire cutter. It's solar powered, so you'll never have to worry about batteries running out. High and low beam LED modes, glass breaking hammer, all in a package that's very tough, lightweight, and durable. Again, an LED 500 lumens flashlight. This is a tool flashlight, and you're going to want it as part of your bug out bag or in your home. Check it out. Go to patriotflashlight.com and use coupon code SGT20 to save 20% off your order. It's your last chance to get the 2019 Patriot Flashlight. I'll leave the link below. So the clip you just heard was from the September 30th edition of the Marc Maron podcast, episode 1058. For those who don't know, uber liberal, atheist, and avowed Trump hater Marc Maron's WTF podcast has quite a reach. 300,000 listeners and 6 million monthly downloads, according to a 2017 article from Parade. And the man hates Trump. He hates Trump supporters, too. Here's how he continued that September 30th rant.
With the power of the propaganda machine, these worms will worm out of anything. But it looks like the screws are being put to them pretty good, and that's very satisfying. And I'm sorry if this upsets any of you, even you people that somehow rationalize or justify this guy just because, you're doing okay or because you're a Republican. If you really, what it comes down to, if you support this guy unconditionally or even conditionally, you're sort of anti-American. You don't believe in our system. And that seems to be the truth of the whole matter.
Marc Maron actually believes that if you support President Donald J. Trump, you are anti-American. Just consider that for a moment. And consider the option. Hillary Rodham Clinton, one of the most rudderless, corrupt, and soulless people ever in American politics.
The more these people defend this guy, no matter what, the more clear it is that they fundamentally don't believe in the American system of government. And that makes them un-American. They can scream socialist and this and that all they want, but they are fundamentally un-American if they don't take this guy to task in a real way. So that's how I see it.
And yet Maron continues podcast after podcast maligning Trump as though the Republic would have been just fine under Hillary Clinton. Maron parrots the anti-Trump propaganda regarding impeachment as though having a phone call with the Ukrainian president is actually an impeachment-worthy crime. Of course, never ever mentioning the actual admitted crimes perpetrated by then VP Joe Biden to the Council on Foreign Relations.
I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Then, on the October 3rd Maron podcast, prior to welcoming guest Danny DeVito, more Trump hate and gloating about impeachment.
I'm excited about how aggravated our president is. I'm excited at how freaked out and angry and scary he's gotten because of these impeachment proceedings, because he fucked up for real again and got caught in a way that might stick. It's hard to know how this system is going to handle anything, but thrilling times nonetheless. I'm not sure we're going to beat out the environmental collapse, but exciting stuff. And he's a scumbag. He's a first class, one of the great scumbags of American history.
Keep in mind, this is the very same Marc Maron who had then President Barack H. Obama on his podcast in June of 2015. Then, 44th President of the United States, Barry Soetoro, actually came to Maron's house to sit in his garage for that podcast. Which reminds me of our friend Tiffany Fitzhenry's research and how the CIA works with Hollywood to further their agenda. Ellen DeGeneres being just the latest example to be exposed. A leaked 2009 memo from Hillary Clinton's State Department transition team revealed how huge platforms like Ellen's show can be used to propagandize for the criminal state.
So I want to take you to this leaked memo from 2009 from Hillary Clinton's State Department transition team, where they actually identify platforms to push the state's agenda.
Wow.
Take a listen to this. These outlets can create vital support for official policy or pending legislation among key domestic constituency groups, but also create momentum for policy abroad. Now, this memo lists different platforms, and in the so-called woman category, that's right, the woman category, we have shows like Oprah, The View, and of course, Ellen's show. Here's what they have to say about Ellen's show. They said she, Ellen, is a big supporter of Hillary Clinton and is willing to use her platform to help promote the agenda of the new Secretary of State.
So they're looking for useful tools. They're looking for propaganda assets.
And it makes one wonder, given Maron's chummy relationship with Obama, if maybe Marc Maron hasn't cut a similar deal. Now, intellectually dishonest Marc Maron refuses to address open borders, which is the policy of the left, and he refuses to address the fact that the left wants to allow illegal aliens to be able to vote, and he refuses to address the fact that carbon taxes paid to international bankers in the name of saving the planet won't help anybody but the bankers. And in the October 17th interview with Woody Harrelson sings the praises of misguided teen Greta Thunberg.
You know, it's we don't want to say we didn't do anything.
At the very least, right? You want to be like, we tried. You know, we did what we could.
Well, it's like this girl here, Greta.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm pointing to my shirt. I have her picture on my shirt. Like I feel like Greta Thunberg is probably. I used to say to myself, who's going to save us? Who's going to come and be the modern Martin Luther King and going to really just change things?
Yeah.
And it turns out to be a 16-year-old girl with Asperger's from Sweden.
Yeah.
You know, like this girl is really making a difference.
And though I doubt Woody Harrelson has struck the same agreement with deep state actors that perhaps Marc Maron has and evidently Ellen DeGeneres has, Woody Harrelson is equally misguided in believing that saving the planet requires UN Agenda 2030 policies, which, as we have stated and quantified before, mean nothing less than serfdom for people in the West.
But, you know, I look at, like, you know, this girl, Greta, spent like a year, I heard, just like so overwhelmed. Once she knew the information, it's like we all got to get kind of sick with the information before we can, you know.
It's lost on Woody that the emotional abuse suffered by Greta Thunberg has driven this young woman to depression and to being a pawn of the deep state actors like George Soros, whose plan it is to enslave humanity to UN Agenda 2030 policies. Friends, for those who still don't understand the real agenda here behind quote-unquote saving the planet, I invite you to listen to the presentation from Anne Bressington about the birth of these same ideas concocted by the Club of Rome in the late 1960s.
Ladies and gentlemen, the origins of the environmental movement as we see it began back in 1968. When the Club of Rome was formed. The Club of Rome has been described as a crisis think tank, which specialises in crisis creation. The main purpose of this think tank was to formulate a crisis that would unite the world and condition us to the idea of global solutions to local problems. In a document called The First Global Revolution, authored by Alexander King and Bertrand Schneider, on pages 104 and 105, it stated, "In searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine and the like would fit the bill. All these dangers, of course, will be caused by human intervention that will require a global response." That's the origin of global warming, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll leave that link below this video. And for real news 24/7, the antidote to corporate propaganda, I invite you to visit us directly at sgtreport.com 24/7. Thanks so much for tuning in. May God bless the President of the United States and the Republic. Bye-bye.
You've got this whole network of neocons, neoliberals, and Democrats working with the media, working with British intelligence, and Trump is outflanking them.